Okay, you're live now.
All right, thank you, Andy.
Okay, you're live now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Python Office hour. My name is Femi, and I'm a Python mentor here at Zuri. Uh, yeah, so I'm so happy to uh meet with all of you here, and I I can't wait to get started. I think we can just have a few minutes for more people to join in. First of all, let me just confirm if everyone can hear me. So just leave. Uh, if you can hear me, just leave it in the chat. All right, thank you. Apologies for starting behind schedule. We had some technical issues. Right. So the way this is going to go is I'm basically just going to be answering your questions. So I'm going to throughout the course of this office hours, I'll be going through the YouTube chats to see your questions and see how I can provide answers to them. Yeah, so basically that's how it's going to go. And probably I'll also provide some few tips on Python, on some um, basic Python like variables or lists and stuff like that. So, but most especially, I want to answer your questions, right? And sure, maybe you can also tell me, started this internship about 2 weeks now or so. So what has your experience been with Python? Um, your task, how have you been finding them? So basically just leave them in the chat and I can go through them and answer your questions, yeah. All right. Let me see. Let me just share my screen and see. Open up VS Code. Okay, so there's a question that says, realistically, how long would one take to master Python with practice? Huh. Well, to master Python, I think um, it depends on how much time you actually devote into it, right? So let's take, for example, every day you devote 2 hours to learning Python. A particular Python in this case, right? So let's compare to situations where you have someone that is just learning Python 8 hours 8 hours a day, right? Like 9 to 5 stuff, and there's someone that is probably taking it part time, right? So the way they master it's different, and in my opinion, and it also depends on how someone can, you know, understand things. The way we understand things is different. So in my own case, when I was learning Python, the what I think helped me the most was I had a very basic understanding of programming languages themselves and how they work, right? And I have had few experiences with um other programming languages like Java and C++. And when I came into Python, I think it was very easy for me to pick it up and adapt because it's not statically typed like those other programming languages I mentioned. So yeah, so basically that's it. Just keep learning. And yeah, you can even become a master before the end of this program. And um, so what is your recommended platform / environment to run Python? The first option is basically to first download Python. Python, when you download Python, it comes with IDE, right? You can write your Python code in there and run them. You can also use IDEs like VS Code, Sublime Text. There's PyCharm. You can use PyCharm. Yeah, so just to name but a few. Recommended for me, I've always been working with VS Code, so that would be my recommended course. Basically, I it's flexible, right? It offers me the option to do a lot of things. I'm a backend developer, so I work with a lot of tools, Docker. I work with GitHub Actions and stuff like that. So these are stuff I could easily configure with my VS Code, right? So yeah, I'm going to increase the one sec. Um, how do I even do this? Um, right. I think that's large enough now. So Yeah, so there's an answer in the chat about how there's an answer in the chat in response to question Abdurrahman asks. So he says realistically about a year or two, maybe more, depending on your work rate and the type of projects you and the type of projects you work on, although becoming a complete expert will take a lot more than that. Yeah, totally, I agree. The more projects and your work rate, as I said earlier, also determines it's basically a lot of factors. Um, so can I use Jupyter Notebook for this program? Personally, I haven't used that before, so I won't recommend it. I think Jupyter Notebook is mostly for data scientists also, if I'm not wrong. Um, yeah, Control Plus. I know Control Plus will increase. I'm actually on a new operating system. I'm actually using um an Android OS for this class. That is why I'm using a GitHub code code space. So just trying this out for the first time, right? So hi Femi, how do we use enumerate? Please expound, right? So enumerate in Python is basically a way, right, by which you can convert maybe like a data instead of data, right, a data objects into so it's sort of an object that returns a counter. I'm looking for how I can explain this very basically. So it takes, for example, it takes a list and it returns for each list, for each item in the list, it returns the number of times that item is found in the list. So let me give you an example. So we have a list of programming languages, right? Languages equals, we have Python, we have Python again. Let's add, okay, yeah. So to use enumerate, we can just say for our language in enumerates languages, print language, print language, right? Mm, right. So it's sort of a way to print like key value pair, right, for your items. So and if we try to run this now, mm, right, so you can see the output here. It's returning, okay, so it is returning the position of the item in the list, right? So it prints out, it's printing out the position of the item. So it's sort of a key value pair. Oh, sorry. Um, Okay, so I'm going to raise my voice. So it's sort of printing out the key value pair. There's another way you can do this is by using like a counter variable. For so you can say I equals 0 and say for language in languages print I and then you increment it. So it's basically going to give us the same thing, right? So but yeah, so basically that's how you can use this is another way you can implement it, but not like recommended. So but just to tell you what enumerate does, right? Just to show you how it works. So basically this what is going on in the background. Let me know if I'm able to answer your question. If I've been able to answer your question, hello Mike. Sorry. Okay, so could you run us through how to set up VS Code environments? Um, for Python, I guess. So basically, just download VS Code, and you must have installed Python on your PC, maybe Windows or Mac OS or Linux. You must have installed Python and then download VS Code. Yeah, so basically that's it. Um, Strings are denoted by codes. When do we use single, double, or multiple codes? And do they perform the same thing? Right. So when we talk about codes, strings, um, so single quotes and double quotes basically perform the same thing, but you have to use them like when you declare a string, right? When you declare a string and you use the single quotes, you have to close it with a single quotes, right? So if you do this, this is basically an error, right? String lateral error. So you have to close it with a single quotes. And if you open another string with double quotes, you have to close it with a double quotes. Now for triple string, it's mostly used as comments, right? So you can see it is used for multi-line comments. So no matter how much space, right? It's whatever I type in between this triple string, like this 3 string between line 5 and 9, they are all comments, right? So basically, triple string is a comment. In Python, a single line comment is denoted by an hash sign, right? So, and a triple and a multi-line comment is denoted by triple triple string, right? Or multiple quotes. Here's your I Kennedy says I don't even understand how you got there. How I got where? Please, my laptop is in Windows 7.0. My question is this: can I use a different version because the version is now compatible? Um, I'm not really sure about that. I think if you check on Python website, you can see I think you'll be able to see like the compatibility of the Python version. So if you go to python.org, right? So and you check through the downloads. So you should be able to see like the compatibility of the versions. I don't know. Just go through the website. To use code space, you just go to GitHub and on whatever repo, just click on the code sign here, right? This code sign, and then you would see normally this is what you have, right? You see a local, so you just change the code spaces and create code space, right? So it basically sets up your VS Code like settings in the web. So basically that's what it does. So I'm trying to see if I can check like compatibility of the versions. I don't know. Okay, yeah. So you would see on okay, this is it. Python 3.7 notes cannot be used on Windows XP or earlier, and there and do. So basically, if you check this, you would see like the compatibility. So you should be able to see which one works for your Windows version, right? Um, yeah. So basically, that's it. All right. So basically, in Python, uh, let's just talk about Python numbers, sort of, right? Python numbers, sort of. So in Python, there are like two types of numbers. We have like integers, integers that are denoted by int, and then we have floats, which are like decimals, right? Floats. Those are like the two type of numbers we have in Python, and this also includes like complex numbers and etc. So um, when we want to like declare an integer, we could say a equals 2, and in memory automatically a2 is assigned to a, and we can check the type, right, of a by using this type function. So when we use this type function, we can basically use this type function on any variable, just check the type of that variable. And if we run this, we're going to get a class of ints, right? That means this is an integer. So if I add a decimal point to this, we are going to get the class of floats, right? So so whenever whenever you're working on something and you just want to check okay, this particular variable is of what type, right? You can just do this, right? So that's like a Python hack when you're working and you have an error like cannot concatenate into a string, and you are like, oh, I already converted this to an integer, so what is happening, blah blah blah, right? So you can quickly do this to see where the issue is. So um Ebubechuku says, please will you explain what an object is? Okay, so an object is basically in Python is an instance of a class. So, and this is like a bit more advanced topic. So, and this is just like your first week. But basically, just to explain, it's an instance of a class. It's like because Python basically is object oriented. So when you have a class, right? When you have a class, my class, right? When you do instance, you can call this anything, right? You can call this anything. Instance equals to my class. This instance is an object of my class, and you can actually have more than one object, right? You can have multiple objects of this class. So, okay, so I just discovered. Okay, so this doesn't work in code space. You can do this. You can have more than one instance, but I wouldn't want you to worry too much about this now. Just continue with the class. This shows like your first week. Try to familiarize yourself with the basics more. And yeah, sure, when we get to classes and objects, I'm sure you have more understanding of this. Yep. So I think we have about 20 minutes. Let's talk a bit about string formatting. Right, string formatting. Cool. So let's take, for example, you have a variable with your name. In this case, my name is Femi, right? And I want to print out my name is so, but since I already assigned Femi's name, we could just do this. So we could just do this. Print hi, my name is through dot format and the input name. Right? So this is a type of string formatting in Python. There are different ways you could actually format strings, but when you see the output, you see I'm able to format, like I'm able to print out Femi using this method, right? Another way you could format strings is by doing this. So there are like some special symbols you can use. So let's say print hi, my name is then we do ampersand S and then modulo name, right? So this is the modulo S and modulo name. So this is another way you can do string formatting and we get the same results, right? Please don't clean the code example. Oh, so sorry about that. What is data type and variable type? So data types in Python are numbers that I talked about earlier. So we have int, floats, complex numbers. Those are like data types. Then data types and variable types are basically the same thing. So data variable types. When you have a variable and you have a data, it's the same thing. So when you declare a variable, that variable can either be a number, which is probably an int, float, or complex number. That variable or data can either be a string, right? That variable or data can either be a list or tuple or a range. It can either be a dictionary or even Boolean. So let me just put it in context, right? So when you declare a data type A equals 4, this is a data type of number, right? And it's an integer. When you say B equals blue, this is a data type of string. When you say C equals a list, this is a data type of lists, right? C is a data type of list. When you say D equals this, right? So you're basically declaring a dictionary. This is a data type of dictionary. Cool. When you say, what are the data type are there? When you say E equals true, right? E equals true. E is a data type of Boolean, right? So basically those are the data types, variable types we have in Python. So there's another question here. Thanks for the explanation. It was mentioned in one of the videos on basic. That's why I asked. Okay, cool. Please, is it possible to operate Python on its own without VS Code? Yes. When you download this Python, when you download the Python, is it application or whatever from the Python website, it comes with an IDLE, which so it comes with an IDLE. And let me see, I think there's a way I can open that up. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's called so even from the website, right? So it comes with an IDLE and also comes with an interactive shell like this, right? And basically you can run your code in them, can run your Python code in them. Oh, okay, cool. See some people have responded. That's great. Can't we code directly on the Python app? I think that's basically the same question from above. Must we have extension Python before coding on VS Code? Before coding, I'm not really sure I understand Said's question. Maybe you can sort of refactor or just ask your question in a different way. Yeah. Right. So basically, yeah, and by the way, if I'm sure you must have noticed um some sort of code completion in my IDE, that's GitHub Copilot. So it's it's an artificial intelligence um tool that sort of completes code. So yeah, so you can check it out. Um, but unfortunately, I don't think it's still free, so you probably have to subscribe. Uh, mm, so I think I get your question. So I say, must we have the Python extension in VS Code, right? Okay, so yeah, basically when you download Python on your when you have Python installed on your system already, um, you have to also install the Python extension in here. So you see in here, right? So, but what this does, it helps with stuff like IntelliSense and code formatting and blah blah blah. It's not really like compulsory, but it helps with code formatting and everything. It doesn't mean your Python code will not run, right? So that's just it. All right. So there's a question: how many types of operators do we have? Okay, so um, basically we have three types of operators in Python. So there are the relational operators, there are arithmetic operators, and then there are the bitwise operators, right? Now, under each of these operators, there are other type of operators. Now, for example, let's talk about the arithmetic operators, right? Arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are, yeah, are the plus, uh, the addition, subtraction, multiplication. Is there a way I can still actually increase this? Let me see. Text font. So let me just put this to fonts. Okay, let me put this to 30. Wow. Okay, just too big. All right, so there are arithmetic operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And we have the modulus operator, and we have the exponents and floor division, right? Exponents, floor division. So basically for addition is basically like adding two numbers, right? Adding two numbers, 2 plus 2. Subtraction is subtracting two, and multiplication, like basic stuff, right? Multiplication. Well, let me just explain what the modulus does, right? So modulo is like a remainder. Modulo returns a remainder. So when you say 2 modulo, when you see 3 modulo 2, right? So the remainder of this is actually 1, right? So and when we print this, we are going to get 1 because that's the remainder. If we say 2 modulo 2, we're going to get 0 because there's no remainder. Right? So an exponent is just like square. So when we say 2 exponents, that's like 2 squared. And floor division just returns the like the number of times that particular number can be divided. So you see 3 floor division 2 is also going to be 1 because 2 can only be divided, 3 can only be divided by 2 once, right? If we say 9 floor division 2, it just returns 4, right? So now relational operators are the greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, then equals to, and not equal to, right? So mind you, this this mostly is used when you are comparing two items, right? When you're comparing two variables. So and we also have the bitwise operators, right? They are like so they are the and or, no, not, and the rest. So I don't think you have to worry yourself about this. Though you mostly you'll be working with arithmetic operators and relational operators at this level. So what is the name of the code completion? Yeah, I said GitHub Copilot. Just said I'm actually not taking a class. I'm basically answering the questions in the chat. I know for some people it can be just like all over the place, like talala. There were this minute we are talking about variables, and the next minute we are talking about operators and everything. It's all going to make sense, right? The more you take your task and attend classes, like watch on YouTube, there's like tons of tutorials on the Zuri YouTube channel that you can watch that has already covered all this basic stuff. So yeah. Actually, is there a website like Mozilla? For Python resources, um, if you're talking about videos, you can just watch the videos on the Zuri YouTube channel. Like they're very, they're very, very helpful. Like for example, let's take for example, we're talking about string formatting. On string formatting only, we have about 3 to 4 mentors that have taken that class and in different ways, right? So with different examples and everything. So if you're talking about like maybe I don't know a website you can check for resources. I think I just Google. Um yep. Basically I use Python documentation, right? So maybe I can recommend that. So if you go to the Python website, just go to the docs. So if you go to the Python docs, yeah. So you can see tutorial and just follow the guide, right? So just follow the tutorial there. Yep. Um, can you show an example of relational operation? Okay, cool. So for relational operations, you can, it's basically to compare two items. So let's say um we want to check there are two variables, right? A equals to 9 and B equals to 2. So we want to check if A is greater than B, right? So this is greater than, right? That is a relational operation. We can also check if A is less than B. We can check if A is greater than, is less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. We can also check if A equals, so mind you, A equals to is different from, this is different from this, right? From this. When you say A, so I know in maths, when you say A, when you do this, it means A equals B. But in programming or Python, more specifically, when you do A equals B, A assigned to B, that means you are assigning whatever value B has to A. In this case, you are comparing them. You are checking if A, value of A is equals to B, right? So yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah, so I don't really have any more questions, and it's been an amazing time, you guys. I really enjoyed your question. You can, yeah, sure. DM me on Slack. I'm on Slack here. Okay, you can DM me on Slack or any other mentor or Python mentor, and for your question, and we can basically just copy up, right? So thanks, guys, for coming to the office hours. I will see you next week. Bye.